Hi guys, it's Kristen from Food Chain. So today what we're going to talk about is math in the kitchen. We've already gone over some knife skills and safety and how to stay safe in the kitchen, but today I really wanted to focus on math in the kitchen and how math skills are really important when we are working in the kitchen. So to start off with, we're going to look at some of our kitchen tools that are normally used when doing a recipe. So we've got our measuring cups here. We've got a 1/4 cup, 1/3 cup, 1/2 cup, and then 1 cup. So these all measure volume. When you put an ingredient inside, it's measuring the volume, how much space it takes up within. So if you have a 1/2 cup, 2 of these are going to go into the 1 cup. If you have a 1/3 cup, 3 of these are going to go into the 1 cup. And if you have a 1/4 cup, 4 of these will equal 1 cup. But when we're measuring certain ingredients, not all ingredients take up the same space inside of a measuring cup. That's why when you're looking at maybe recipes to make something on a larger scale, a lot of bakeries do this, a lot of high-end restaurants, instead of using measuring cups and measuring by volume, they actually measure by weight. So they are weighing all of their ingredients on a kitchen scale, and this actually ensures that the measurements are more exact. And so I wanted to show you guys how this is true and how we can see that it's true. So we're going to use the 1/4 cup measuring cup. We're going to get our kitchen scale out here. And then we're also going to get a glass measuring cup, and we're just going to put this on our scale. And so that way it zeroes out, and whatever we put inside of here, so we're going to zero it out, whatever we put inside of here will then be able to weigh. And so we're going to be weighing in grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the 1/4 cup with some water to start off with. So we've got a 1/4 cup of water. We're going to now pour this in here, and we're going to see how much it weighs. So that is 61 grams is a 1/4 cup of water. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull over our sugar here, and we're going to measure our sugar, and we're going to see if maybe it's the same or if it's different. And that way we can compare the measurements and to see if when we're actually measuring a 1/4 cup of sugar and water, is it going to be as exact as we want it to be? Will it come out to that every single time? So remember, the water, it was 61 grams, and I'm just drying these off right now because we're going to use some sugar, and so I don't want the sugar to stick to the inside of these and then make our measurements not correct. So I'm going to grab a 1/4 cup of sugar, and we're going to level it off so you can see it's very full. And now we're going to pour this in here, and this is 51.5 grams is what the sugar weighs. So you can tell that sugar and water don't have the same weight, but we did measure them exact in our measuring cups. So what does that mean when you're following a recipe and it calls for equal parts, like equal parts water and flour, equal parts flour and sugar, equal parts butter and flour? A lot of baking recipes call for that. And so if you are using the measuring cups, and if you're using the 1/4 cup to do equal parts water and sugar, for example, they're not actually going to be equal because you're not getting the same weight out of them. So using weight in the kitchen definitely is a lot more precise when you're doing your measurements. So let's talk about the tiny measuring spoons. So we've got our tablespoon, our teaspoon, and our 1/2 teaspoon. And now I am going to leave this up to you guys. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. How many teaspoons do you think fit inside of a tablespoon? So I'm going to give you a few seconds. You can type your answer in the chat, and I'll wait a little bit longer. How many teaspoons fit inside of 1 tablespoon? If you guessed 2, incorrect. If you guessed 4, incorrect. If you guessed between that, ding, ding, ding. So 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. It's just a fun little fact. And so if you've got the half a teaspoon, how many half teaspoons does it take to fill up 1 tablespoon? You can write your answer. You can type your answer in the chat. Yes, it is 6. So remember, 3 teaspoons went into 1 tablespoon. 2 of these go into 1 teaspoon. So you would take 2 times 3, and that gets 6 that go into 1 tablespoon. That can come in handy if you're following a recipe and it calls for a tablespoon of something, and all that you have lying around is the teaspoon, or maybe you haven't washed off your tablespoon and you have a teaspoon. So you can know that you can use 3 teaspoons to equal 1 tablespoon.